All right. Insanity with the Twitter files. Sean, can you go to my page for a sec? I just want to read Dorsey's tweet first.
Sure.
So Elon, they've been teasing the Twitter files. We now know that Baker, the Twitter lawyer, former FBI guy, very kind of scandalous past, who was terminated from Twitter because he was actually vetting the Twitter files unknowingly, unbeknownst to the new management team. And so anyway, that's why there's been a delay on episode 2. But now this is just shocking. Jack Dorsey responds to this whole situation. If the goal of transparency is to build trust, why not just release everything without filter and let people judge for themselves, including all discussions around current and future actions? Make everything public now. I mean, well, yeah. But like I feel like he knows what he's doing by saying this, because the idea of making everything public, like, I think he knows that Elon would never do that.
So he's like calling the bluff almost.
I feel like it's playing chicken and sort of calling the bluff. But at the same time, it's pretty interesting that he's even risking that.
Right.
It does sort of show that maybe he's confident with like his history of actions taken, probably because he was willfully ignorant on all the censorship that was occurring and sort of voluntarily chose to not be involved, which I think is still involvement, because that's still a non-involvement is involvement.
Well, but I think like for him, like I think ignorance would be his best defense, and even that's not a good defense, because you would think the CEO should probably know what's happening in the company. But yeah, I was wondering though, like with all the stuff that's coming out, how implicated will Dorsey be? Do you take him at his word and say maybe he didn't know as much as he's saying?
I think it's very possible that he, because he founded Twitter and then he left for a while and then he came back.
Yeah.
And so he has really been through it all. And I would imagine that he learned the lesson that, moderation is hell. Yeah. And he probably intentionally wants to stay away from it just because it's pure chaos. And, realize he didn't want to be in the middle of it. So, but I don't think that means that there's nothing controversial or scandalous about him in there. I'm sure there is stuff there. Like there has to be. It's, you can't avoid it completely as CEO. I participate in moderation decisions. Luckily, we have a free speech policy, and so it happens much less. But I definitely know what's going on, and I'm constantly like, if a mistake is made, I'm like freaking out, and so we'll see.
I guess that was my question. It's like you're hands-on CEOs. There's hands-on CEOs out there, right? And those are the people that are in the grind with everyone every day. Dorsey to me always kind of seemed like he was the opposite. He was kind of the hands-off. I'm going to put the people in place that I think can do the job. And like when they did the Joe Rogan interview, when it was Dorsey, Vijaya, and Tim, I mean, he brought Vijaya as like, hey, I don't know enough about this. I can't answer Tim's questions by myself. Like that's why I brought Vijaya. So I always kind of wonder, I'm like, was he that hands off? I mean, he could have been, like, I don't know.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's possible. But that's very irresponsible. In fact,
I agree.
It almost makes him look worse.
That's what I mean. Like his best defense is ignorance, but it also kind of makes him look bad at the same time too.
Yeah, it makes him look bad, makes him look worse from a much higher level, because it's just sort of like negligent.
Yeah.
And it's like watching a building burn down where there's people burning alive inside and you just don't do anything about it.
Yeah, and you can argue, I mean, Elon has proven to be exactly the opposite. I mean, not only is he hands-on, he's communicating with all the users, all the quote unquote customers on the platform. And
but the funny thing is that Jack probably knows that Elon, because Elon is kind of involved in these, subjective moderation decisions. He's literally the one making decisions about, someone like Kanye or, Alex Jones or something. So
FAFO.
he, Jack probably, it's very interesting. Like, I can't believe that he pulled that card. So I don't know if there was any reply to it. I don't think I'm almost positive there was no reply, but I got to.
Well, it's humorous, really. It's funny that Dorsey would say it like that.
No one, yeah, like Elon didn't reply. I'm not even seeing anyone really notable. Oh, he just replied 14 seconds ago.
Oh, there you go.
Elon did. He said most important data was hidden from you in parentheses, and some may have been deleted, but everything we find will be released.
So that's interesting. So that's almost like Elon saying like it was hidden from Jack.
You can click the link I just put in the chat if you want.
Okay, great. Well, I'll mess up the screens here, but
don't worry about it. I mean, I read it. It's fine. Just leave it.
All right. I'll mess up the screens anyways.
So yeah, I mean, Elon says that he's saying that everything is going to be released, but what he's not alluding to is Elon going to release communications about like what he has done since he took over? Yeah. Because when you talk about hyper transparency, like there's really no end to it. Ultimately it becomes like, well, are your public chat channels, are your internal chat channels just like public? That's like the extreme end that you would take it, and you would just let people kind of observe in, fully in public the whole process itself. But that's not going to happen. So
yeah, anyway. I personally would love to see like an Elon and a Jack come to one of our events and join a panel with like alt tech figureheads such as yourself and really have this discussion. Like I think a lot of it's obviously playing out on Twitter now because of Elon, but like there's a lot that Elon's doing that I disagree with. The fuck around and find out, I disagree with that. There's a lot of accounts that still haven't gotten their accounts back. I haven't heard of like any major ones that have. And I don't see any like path to redemption or new appeal process or anything like in place. So, there's.
I think that is going to happen. I think but with these arbitrary things like with Kanye and Alex Jones, like that's sort of what worries me. I do think that he's like, why wouldn't he want to restore all of the banned accounts who were talking about COVID? Like those are just like potential customers for him. There's no downside.
Well, there's an interesting angle here. So remember what Elon said was, we're going to restore all the accounts that didn't quote unquote, break the law. And there are accounts so what Twitter did is they weaponized the DMCA process on accounts that they wanted to go away. Like people were getting dinged for stuff like they're calling it copyright, and it really wasn't copyright. But now,
that's the tricky part. Like copyright is kind of in between there, and there's kind of BS claims, and also
exactly.
But that's technically a legal thing. Sean, I just got a text that I got to take. So anything else you guys want to touch on?
No, we're good. I'm good. I'm enjoying Austin. I love Austin so far. It's fantastic. Matt, how's everything going with you?
Very gloomy weather here, but there's a buck that keeps returning to my yard every day, and he's standing out by the pond right now.
You got to invite him in.
Yeah, it's close. He's coming closer and closer every day. He's very curious.
I'll see Joe Rogan tonight. Very excited about that. It's going to be an awesome show. I can't wait.
You just saw James O'Keefe, right?
What's that?
You just saw James O'Keefe as well.
Just saw James O'Keefe in Milwaukee. That was fantastic. Saw Giannis Papas in Detroit.
Awesome.
He's hilarious, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah,
he was great. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining.
All right, guys.